Happy days. Okay.
All right.
Impromptu broadcast off the cuff. Welcome to an off the cuff edition of the Hatrick and Ramsay Unleashed Fire Talk show with our off the cuff guest, co-host, whatever you want to call it, Durham Skywriter. Well, hey, so Durham.
Hey, Fraser.
How's it going? What's been happening today? How's it hanging? What's been going on? You know.
Well, I'm working on the June issue of my online newspaper, the Durham Skywriter. Durham, in this case, is Durham, North Carolina, USA, not Durham, England. And so I'm finishing up the June issue.
So what's the top story in your newspaper kicking off?
Well, it's pretty, I have a very calm, unassuming cover story this month. Last month's cover story was about an aviation program, a free aviation program for high school students. This month, the cover story basically is, believe it or not, spring cleaning.
Spring cleaning?
Yeah, as a way to gain control over your life again, and also, cleaning your domicile, so to speak.
It's always good when you tweet something out, you get tweets and you forget to turn your phone off and notifications, and you get the same thing.
No problem.
Hey, it's all good. So
Walter's watching, and he likes this. He says this is a good platform. I just have to remember to use Firefox and not Chrome.
Bingo. So tell us off the cut. Tell us, what spring cleaning are you hoping to entice your readers to get done?
More or less. The title of the column that I usually use for my hints it's called El Cheapo Handy Hints. So it will be the El Cheapo Handy Hints Spring Edition. And when I say El Cheapo, whoa, we're about to get a thunderstorm. If lightning strikes, I'll have to duck under the desk here and talk to you later. But basically, just low cost ways of cleaning and sorting through your stuff and organizing, getting things back in order.
What do you call it? Decluttering.
Exactly.
Getting rid of the stuff you're not using in about 6 months to a year, if not longer, and either sending it to a charity shop or sending it to the bin, basically.
They say if you haven't used something in 2 years, just throw it out. But I have actually had stuff sitting around for years and then discovered a very good use for it. So I wouldn't just say throw it away if you haven't used it for 2 years, because you might just be it might be a little ahead of its time. So so just look at everything objectively and see if you can use it later. And if you honestly don't think you can, toss it.
So we've been chatting in a place called Team Blob, which is an unlisted blab for the kind of, how'd you say, the special ones. No,
it's a live streaming app that we hang out in.
We chill, we hang, we talk business, we talk other stuff, we talk other platforms, and we talk just anything generally. And we link up, we network, and it's like having a global networking breakfast live on camera in real time, even though we're in different time zones. And we've been discussing a potential project that you're linking up with, as in with a cancer project. Also ways of how we can boost your newspaper and publicize it as well. And getting you subscribers and people to advertise, we can also, the Cancer Project is trying to brand it over in Edinburgh, but also with the help of the other networkers, Beauty Bubble, and there's Tracy and etc. and JS Gilbert. They've been helping us with branding some of the stuff I've been doing, and linking up with the kind of yourself and how we can all build each other's platform and go from there and grow it. Mm-hmm. So, and the main thing is, the good thing about the cancer one is we want to try and brand as a t-shirt so we can get people to buy them, and the money from the buying of that t-shirt or a hoodie or whatever sweatshirt that will go towards a cancer project, a charity either of your choice or one specific charity, etc. Not necessarily having that brand just in Edinburgh, but maybe in other places of the world potentially, as long as it's not sort of kind of copyright kind of thing. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's the main thing. But also there's the Awake Africa Scotland project as well, which we're aiming to boost. Is obviously which is something you'd be interested in, is the highlighting the abuse of women, not just in Africa but around the world as well, to try and prevent that, and showing it, that giving the shock factor to people around the world to know, by putting this project on stage called Awake Africa Scotland, the musical, is to show people through testimonies of women who have suffered abuse, who've been through basically hell from abusive partners, or in whatever way, whether it's sex trafficking or anything, that they understand that this is something that's got to be brought to attention, and not just to be swept under the carpet after just a couple of, whether you've seen a show or seen something, just to go, okay, 2 weeks have passed, and we just forget about it and move on. It's got to have the shock factor. It's got to have that crime scene. It's got to have that murder, that like you're walking up to a crime scene, that gory, and it's got to have something, that factor. It's not going to leave your head, that you know that this is in your head. Same with cancer projects. It's got to have that impact in our brains. It's going to stay there. We're going to know we're going to forward. So the Durham Skywriter News is going to have that impact. We're going to get that people out there to show that your newspaper is, people are going to want to go to it all the time, and want to advertise, and want to put a news story out there, and want to get it on fire, basically, and get it out there in the local area where you are. Even creating a sister paper potentially in Scotland if you fancy it, and going forward. Could be the Skywriter News, instead we can take out the Durham, but we can still have the Skywriter News. That could be interesting moving forward and thinking of projects here on this impromptu Fire Talk Chats. So, what other news stories are in your paper when it goes out this week? Or was it going out this week or this month? Or
well, it's the weird thing is, I call it a newspaper, but it's really a website. I will always call it a newspaper. I started in print and radio, and I'm just old school. So because it's a website, it's always up, which means I roll in the new information as it's still, active. So one day you might see something, and the next day it might disappear and be replaced by something else inexplicably. So that's what I do. I'm always changing the paper. Every day I'm working on it. Even though it's considered a monthly newspaper, it's updated every day, to tell you the truth, now that it's online. I love the fact that it's online, because I used to hate so much when I would print the newspaper, it would be done for the month, and then find out that I missed something. I missed an event, or the time was wrong, or the day was, things happen, So now I can change things on the fly, update them, and then point attention to them via Facebook. I can say, hey, this is just added to the Skywriter. This is an event you need to know about. Check it out. Here's the website. Here's the phone number. Boom. I love that.
Tell us, tell us an inspiring story that's been shown on the Durham Skywriter website, the news. Give us something that stood out over the last year or recently that we could just share with our live audience.
Well, actually, I can't think of any. You mean like a particular story?
Well, there must be. Is there something that's caught your eye that you put in? You've talked about, you've written about on. Something that's really is anything extravagant or.
Well, in line with some stories that you might have heard about here in the USA, we've had a couple of incidents where the city police have killed someone. The public might deem it unnecessarily.
Okay.
That's not always what is determined after the investigation. But we have had a couple of incidents that were really questionable here in Durham, and we actually have a brand new police chief because of it. She just started this week. In fact, she's starting tomorrow.
Okay, so what was do you have a bit more information on that incident when somebody got shot, or?
Yeah, there was a young boy. I shouldn't say young boy. I should say a young man. He was 17. He had an argument with his family and stormed out of the house. These were immigrants, I believe, from Mexico or El Salvador. And he stormed out of the house. The mom called the police to bring him back. And he somehow, while supposedly his hands were behind his back, he was able to somehow shoot himself dead with the gun that the police had already checked to see if he had a weapon. He didn't, supposedly. You know how they check you first, and then they handcuff you, and they put you in the car. So that's what apparently happened. And yet somehow he was able to skillfully, and which with much athleticism and determination, somehow procured a gun from nowhere and shot himself dead in the back of the police car. And there were other incidents where there was a young man who was distraught because his wife or girlfriend was not allowing him to see his son. He was suicidal, and he was waving a toy gun around, which of course the police thought was real and shot him dead. And incidents like that are kind of, I think a policeman would say they're borderline, and these things happen, and there's nothing we can do about it. But of course, whenever someone loses a life, the public's upset. I mean, it could be relative of you or anyone really. So it was determined that these incidents and the unfortunate utterings of the very insensitive police chief that led to his demise, and so now we're getting a new police chief. So I've written about these incidents in my own way. What I really think we need to do here in Durham, I don't know about other cities, I don't know about Edinburgh, but I do know some cities have police procedures publicized, and you can access them via the internet. And in other words, what the rules are, what the police can do under certain circumstances. Here in Durham, we have no idea whatsoever.
Over here, there tends to be, we don't tend to, well, there's not many gun incidents you have over here, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And there was actually a time, I mean, it was probably a few months ago, earlier in the year, it was actually broadcast, it was actually in the news that a few New York cops came over to Police Scotland to show, to watch how how the police did it over here, how you can bring down a person who's maybe got a knife or something, without actually having to shoot the person. You know what I mean? And that's one thing. That's when we did it, and so that's they show it's a training way. So showing that how to take back, that you don't always have to just put. There's ways of bringing down somebody without actually saying bang, stick a bullet in their head or bullet through them without actually taking a life. There's ways of doing it. And
but here's the thing, Fraser. It's a matter of training. I have learned that how can I put this? There's more than one way to train a police officer. There are different programs.
Yeah.
The program that the Durham Police subscribe to involves this fact: when you shoot someone, you shoot to kill. On television, you see them skillfully shooting the gun out of your hand, or shooting someone in the knee to cause them to stop running or whatever. But no, whatever, I don't know what the word is, that the training procedures that the Durham Police go through train them to shoot for the body and to kill. Another police officer said off the record that they would much rather just kill the person so that they don't have to deal with all of this stuff in court, which is pretty heartless. But
is that not would it not be better to? I mean, is that not a kind of very easy way out? Just shooting and killing somebody the way they train them. Is that it's like a cop out to say, "Oh, he's dead." Say probably less paperwork to fill in, probably. But the guys, the policemen, the cops, were thinking, I'm going to have a shed load of paperwork to fill in here, and
that's crazy.
Stuff it. Let's just shoot the guy or shoot whoever it is.
Yeah.
And I think it's just silly. I mean, why do you have? I mean, some of the incidents are probably so trivial, and why do they have to? I mean, shoot to kill. What is the point of having a dead body?
That's the thing. We get upset when the police shoot to kill, and even though we can say, "Oh, he shouldn't have done that," I think what we need to target is the method of training. Why are they signed up for the program that trains them to shoot to kill when other police departments have different trainings that teach them to be more skillful with their guns and to not have to kill someone just because you're shooting them? So I think we need to push for them to get training elsewhere instead of just getting upset every time they kill someone. Obviously, if they're trained to kill someone when they brandish their weapon, then obviously we're going to have a lot more deaths than than necessary. So we need to ask for different training procedures and
Okay.
get to the heart of it.
I
So,
think.
so that's the kind of stuff I cover in my online newspaper. And
Do you think that a lot of the training, maybe how the UK handle certain things like that, but instead of shooting to kill straight away, do you think that a lot of American police forces could learn a lot from the British way of policing?
yeah, they're still not armed, are they?
Exactly. We do sometimes have arms, but not technically armed. No, yeah, we don't need to always be armed.
That boggles the mind.
There we go.
Now they're going in the opposite direction in the USA, where um, the military is actually selling at a nice discount ridiculously powerful weapons to local police forces, and I think sometimes that they're just buying the stuff just because it's fun to have. Um, Now, fortunately for us, the Durham Police Department has not entered into that program, but
Okay.
there are many police. Um, let's see. Some of the names, well, I don't have to bother you with the names, but there are some police. You've heard about some police actions where the police arrive in riot gear for
Yeah.
like domestic arguments.
It's
you know,
mostly.
yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, you've heard of that. The militarization of the police is something that has caused a lot of us some great concern, and it needs to be addressed. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff I cover. Most of my paper is very benign and full of information for families, like education and fishing tournaments and whatnot. But I do sometimes have to cover the hard stuff as well because it's important.
You've never covered like a. There's never been like a crime scene at all. And you're not really gone up to where the crime scene is, and the Durham Skywriter reporting live on the Durham Skywriter website news here.
No, we have actually very adequate. We have the Herald Sun newspaper, the News and Observer newspaper, which is based in Raleigh, but they sometimes cover Durham news. We have a local TV station, WTVD, and they are, how can I put this? They handle bad news very well. That is their bread and butter. You know, the exciting, the dangerous, the bad. And I leave that to them. I prefer to cover news that people can actually learn something from. And, you know, I like to help people improve their lives with the news that I offer rather than, tell them who got killed lately.
So with the news that you're providing, are you finding you're getting a lot of kind of people reading your newspaper or going online and reading what the up to date stuff and how they can improve their lives? You're getting a lot of. There's a
Every
lot.
page, well,
Yeah.
because my paper is so different, every page is a topic. So I have a health page,
Right.
education page, religion page, sports. So every page is nothing but information. So I can't tell you what people like the best. But I'll tell you one thing. Once I was in the store and this lady
Right.
stopped me and she said, "Your paper has how did she say? Your paper has changed our lives." And I was like, "How did it do that?" I
So
had
how?
two young boys on my radio show. Now my newspaper and my radio show are tied together, and now I
Sure.
have to say my newspaper and TV show. But anyway, she said that I had done this interview on this beautiful private school for young men, minority men, black and Hispanic. This school was started in a rough area because they were how can I put it? The Duke University Medical Center staff, emergency room staff, they were very concerned because all these black men kept showing up with knife and gun wounds. And they said, we've got to do something about this. So they started this private school, rigorous, serious school, right in the hood, so to speak.
Wow.
And they are building leaders from within. So these young men go to they wear the tie. It's so cute when I see the English kids with the little suits and the little ties. So this school, they're dressed up nice, you know, and they stand up. They're young men. They're not boys. They're men,
Yeah.
and they are trained to stand up for what's right and for what's good. And the education is very rigorous. All of them get scholarships to universities because the training is top notch, and it's all free. And it's only open to a few dozen boys. That's all, or young men, I should say. So anyway, so I had two young men on my show from this school, and this lady, her son was veering towards a life of crime.
Right.
And she was concerned. He was a smart boy, but just undisciplined and wanting to be in the streets. So she signed him up for this school, and he became a gentleman and a scholar. And because they had to spend less time disciplining him and chasing him and trying to find where he was, the family was able to settle down and be more prosperous and happy. And she says that she gave me credit. Fantastic. So it was beautiful.
So how often are you telling people about where to find you so they can look at your website, to read your newspaper, to listen to your show? Are you getting out to almost like handing out little leaflets to say, this is who I am, this is what I do, almost like to tell them where the shop is open, if you know what I mean, so people can go, oh, this is great. So this is look, go online and read what you're publicizing every day.
Well, every morning I have a show called Bull City Notes. Durham is also, the nickname for Durham is the Bull City. And so I have Bull City Notes, where it's a 5-minute show. I tell people what's happening today. All of the news is from the Durham Skywriter. So naturally, I leave out the addresses and phone numbers so that they have to consult the Durham Skywriter for the details. Right. And then, of course, I invite people to read the paper and to get involved and to advertise and to also send me information that I can use for the newspaper. So I do that every day. And then I have my interview show, which is called TV Skywriter, where this is my new home. Fire Talk is a new home of TV Skywriter. And of course, I use social media pretty extensively as well. Facebook, Twitter, Google+.
But for those who don't use social media or are not actually getting maybe as much access or seeing what you're publicizing, do you have maybe like a flyer and you're going out on the street or just handing them out, or maybe in your local doctor's surgery or your local library, and having these little leaflets somewhere on a table? So
actually, I need to return to that. I used to put out flyers, and now I simply pass out business cards by the hundreds. But and I do leave business cards everywhere. In fact, my business card, I wish I had one to show you. I used to have one sitting on the table here, but it's like a mini billboard. It is it's a folding business card, like a little booklet.
Oh, yeah.
So it has actually four sides to it. So it explains everything that I do. Again, I encourage people to get involved and to read it.
Cool.
So that serves as my flyers.
So basically, with this off the cuff news with the Skywriter and Ramsay show, we're just generally getting our feedback on what the Durham Skywriter paper is all about, and a bit of a mixed bag of what she does. On the next show, it'll be on Durham's channel. It'll be me as the guest coming in, and we'll be doing it the opposite way, and we'll be doing a bit of off the cuff again. And the plan is to continue this program going forward and see if we can make this grow, and also have other guests on while we're at it. So maybe we can build on this platform and take it from there. Does that sound good?
Nice.
Does that sound good?
I like that.
So it's going to be off the cuff news. I should have got the S, but off the cuff news with Skywriter and Ramsay, and we can go from there. So that sounds like a good plan for going forward and make this work. So from all the way from Scotland and all the way from North Carolina and Durham, we're cooking the gas. We're going to call an end to this broadcast. So we look forward to seeing you on our next broadcast. And any updated news, whether it's crime scenes, whether it's how to do your granny shopping or whatever, we'll update you on all that news and go from there. So thank you
so much, Fraser. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, this is great. So from all the off the cuff news, we will return to our usual platform, Team Blob, and get the feedback from our audience and take it from there. So take care, good night, wherever you are in the world, and have a good one. Bye-bye now. Say goodbye. Bye.